So all of you have seen the WoW Dragonflight, the newest upcoming expansion. We are going into one of the largest new continents, the Dragon Isles. We're getting a dragon playable race, we're getting our own dragons we can customize and fly, and there is a lot of storyline around the dragon aspects and the Titan Watchers. However, a big question that has gone under the radar is who is actually going to be the villain of this expansion? Who will we be fighting? They confirmed in a way that it won't be a world-ending threat, and while they didn't outright state who the villain is, throughout the interviews that you might have missed, they gave us some really interesting hints. I mean, the Jailer obviously talked about what is to come, so surely we are not going to the Dragon Isles to just learn more about their history and to plant a few flowers. So who is going to be the big bad guy of Dragonflight? Before we get into the video, I'd like to talk about this game because legit, this is the craziest game that I've played on my mobile phone. Seriously, feels like a fully fledged RPG that you would play on your PC just on your phone. Project Rival is a sci-fi survival game where you survive on what remains of the Earth after an alien invasion, featuring super realistic graphics that adopt 3A standard modeling, making for an incredibly immersive survival experience. There are a bunch of high-tech weapons, with each weapon having 2 unique skills. You can upgrade them and enhance them with battle codes and adapt them to both PvP and PvE. The shooting mechanics themselves are quite impressive and quite easy to get a hang of. Project Rival Closed Beta already started and it will end on May the 2nd. All Android players in the UK and Canada can use my link to play right away, while all other followers can stay tuned to follow the updates and to keep up with the development. If you would like to support the channel, check out my link in the description below. So there has been a trend of Blizzard repeating or being significantly inspired by previous WoW expansions that were successful, with Burning Crusade being related to Legion, Shadowlands being related to Wrath of the Lich King. So most people expected that the newest WoW expansion will be based on Cataclysm, as that would only be logical. However, Blizzard pulled an interesting stunt, and it turns out they combined Cataclysm and Mists of Pandaria into one new expansion that will be called Dragonfight. Why I say Cataclysm is because obviously dragons, and even history of Deathwing and the Black Dragonflight, but also being Azeroth based with heavy dragon aspect involvement. However, the reality is that Dragonflight seems to be almost entirely Mists of Pandaria based feature wise and kind of story wise. I'd say that is the biggest why that I've got from it so far. I mean, just think about it, a massive cloaked continent hidden, a bunch of native races that live their own life with their own separate civilization with no connection to the outside world, a bunch of Titan bases like on Pandaria with some heavy magic going on behind the scenes. Most importantly, just like Pandaria, we are going to explore a brand new continent with no big bad announced and no world-ending threat that we know about right from the get-go. With Pandaria, we only had 2 really major threats, one of them being Leishan, a local threat we just learned about, a completely brand new one, and Garrosh going crazy trying to take over the entire world. However, in the interviews and the announcement videos, they drew a big parallel on how there will be a stark difference between our campaign in Pandaria and our new campaign on the Dragon Isles. First major difference is that when we went to Pandaria, it was just an outright invasion. It was a military campaign of the Horde of the Alliance just going crazy trying to grab as much land and resources as they physically can. Literally a free real estate type thing. Now, a decade later, it is a completely different scenario. As we faced so many threats together, the Horde and the Alliance really united for the first time ever with cross-faction grouping, and now it is more the case that we are invited by the dragon aspects to help them out, to help them reclaim their ancient home. So instead of sending the military to create excavation site and to extract as much as we can from the Dragon Isles, we are sending scientists, archaeologists, mages in order to uncover the ancient secrets to help rebuild the Dragon Kingdom and to apparently lead us into what is to come in the future, with heavy hints of bad guys in the background. But now the question arises, what is the actual threat? There is no way we are going on a complete expedition, a campaign, to just learn more about dragon history and to grow some plants, and you're right, that is definitely not the case. It is obvious that there will be some big threat in the background that we will learn only later about. They already gave us some hints for the local threats, but let's think about it. Something big is definitely going on that we don't know about yet. See, the Dragon Isles were later on in an interview confirmed to be low located northeast of the known Azerothian landmass, and they are said to be one of the largest continents offered to players, so you can expect it to be as big as Pandaria. According to Blizzard, when the proto-dragons became the dragon aspects, the protectors of Azeroth, they settled their really advanced civilization on this continent. Tyr helped them personally with an army of Titan Watchers and Titan Forge, and they built Tyr's Hold and a bunch of those structures that you really see in the cinematic. However, Dragon Isles seem to be a lot more than just home of the dragons. In fact, it is obvious that they're placed on some really important features of Azeroth, with crazy magic going on beneath the actual landmass or inside the landmass. When the Southern split the planet 10,000 years ago, this magic was lost, and that is why the continent was veiled and it lay dormant. Now, at the moment, we can only speculate, but my biggest take on this right now is that this is somehow related to the world soul of Azeroth, as is anything. You can observe in the latest cinematic that when magic returned to the island, we see this very blue Azerite looking energy in the water as life returns. At this point in time, they still didn't confirm what caused the event for the Dragon Isles to awaken, but my best take right now is that it is something world soul related. The dragons in the cinematic told the Titan Watchers that they will feel when they return and that they need to light the beacon in order to guide them. Seeing that this thing activated very close to the ending of the Shadowlands, I'm almost certain this is related to this event. Seemingly, the magic returned to the islands. I'd say maybe it had something to do with Zereth Mortis. Maybe this is the closest connection we have to the Azeroth's world soul. Maybe that drill in Northrend caused some rumblings. Who really knows at this point? However, what is important is that seemingly the function returned and now the Isles are operating once again. They told us that we will see the entire continent kinda hit by the winds of time and that the dragons are almost destroyed at this point, so their kingdom is going to be really lackluster. But the most important point they made is that while dragons and the Titan Watchers slumbered, so did the ancient evils, and now that they awoke, the evil awoke as well. We learned about some of the local threats such as the Jardine. Apparently, elemental giants that used to be the biggest enemies of the dragons on these isles. But come on, let's be real, we're not going to the Dragon Isles to fight the Jardine. These guys are going to be one-patch local threats at best, and at the most, possibly servants of some bigger threats that will later be uncovered, similar to the fell corrupted Vrykul that we had in Legion. One of the most interesting updates is that we will be learning about Deathwing, the Black Dragonfight, and most importantly, Galakrond. Let's unpack what they told us here. So, the Draktyr that we will be able to play as are actually creations of Deathwing and were sealed on the Dragon Isles this entire time. He combined the power of dragons with the flexibility of the mortals in order to create in his own eyes the perfect soldier. So I'm guessing we will learn more about the Black Dragon experiments. Vratian will also play a role, as he will more than likely take control of what remains of the original Black Dragonfight, which is not much. This could lead to interesting storylines that might be related to the Old Gods. Maybe we learned that the first initial Old Gods Void incursion happened right here on the Dragon Isles, and that is how Deathwing's mind began to be corrupted. Maybe we discover the source of his insanity. Second, and in my opinion the most important bit, is that we will learn about Galakrond. Yes, this is the big bad we all speculated could be the new major villain of the new expansion, and while it isn't likely, it is still highly possible. We will apparently find primal followers of Galakrond, the cannibal dragon, and I'm guessing as this is the dragon homeland, we might learn the source of his actual corruption. Now, I've said this in multiple videos, but the quick summary is that some mysterious green magic corrupted Galakrond and turned him into a world threat, and Blizzard never told us what this magic was, but it is more than likely not Fel nor the Void. So maybe the source of this corruption will be present on the Isles, and it could go either way of Galakrond being resurrected by his followers or them creating a brand new Galakrond, a way more empowered one. I would say at the moment this might be the closest hint we have to an expansion big threat. Other than this, Blizzard let out a few more really interesting hints. Each Dragonfight will have a role in this expansion. We'll learn more about the blue dragons through Syndragosa's library, where we will apparently learn some really interesting things. We will see the daughter of Ysera, who will more than likely be resurrected as she is an other build, and Tyrande was said that she will play a role in this expansion. I'm guessing this could be the connection between the green Dragonfight and Northern build and all this restoration that they have been talking about for so long. Previously, I was talking about Eldrassil being restored, but what if the Night Elves move in with the Green Dragons and create a new civilization on this newly discovered continent? I know it sounds ridiculous, but this could totally be realistic and feasible. It is highly unlikely that Blizzard will create a new Darnassus now when the entire focus will be on the new continent. Now, let's look at an old hint that is now relevant more than ever on who will be the next big threat. Blizzard told us nearly half a year ago that we will be returning to Azeroth, that we will be scaled down, no more big cosmological fights, and guess what? They were right. Literally, that happened to the letter. However, they also said one more thing that I'm almost certain will be true in the very near future. They said that the expansion will be similar to the Burning Crusade, us fighting local threats, while huge cosmological threats will be in the background. Now, come on guys, the jailer told us about this big what is to come. He ended the expansion with a massive cliffhanger. Do you really think the entire expansion will be about planting flowers on a dragon continent? Obviously, the focus of this expansion will be on the magic that is under the land and why it returned just now, what it is that triggered it. I'm guessing Serret Mortis and the first ones will play some sort of a role. Maybe we'll learn about the first ones visiting this land, but my best guess right now is that this, that triggered the dragons to return, is the biggest hint. It is more than likely some big cosmological things happening in the background. Thank you for watching. Check out my explanation of the Dragonflight cinematic by clicking on the screen, and check out the Roads Academy for videos on real-world history. See you next time.